So that's the first thing that you see when FLAC2D starts, this startup dialog, on which you can see some information about that it's pre-release, that's current version, 158. If you're new to FLAC2D, just click here. You'll directly go to documentation, to the tutorials, how to start working with FLAC2D. And that's actually what we're going to cover right now. If you have a problem, use technical support dialog. And one technical notice that we used to have so-called thing extruder, now it's called sketch. And that's where we actually start working, where you draw your geometry, that's where you draw your model. But we just changed its name. Let's select no project for now. When you open FLAC2D, it looks like this, pretty much empty screen. You either need to load your project file here or start start creating something. Because right now it's like an empty shell right now, which you need to fill with some information, some data. So, but before doing this, I just wanted to outline. On the left side, it's a project panel. You can turn it on and off with this project button. Basically, it shows you all the information about the files that you loaded for your FLAC2D project, about any plots that you created, any result that you created. You see there's saved states, plots, data files. And if you create any additional things like geometry sets, for example, geometry that describes your model, it will also appear here. Then on the bottom, let me start from the bottom first. It's a command area where you can see a console with blinking cursor. That's essentially where you can issue a command. So we'll step back. ITASCA software is mostly command driven. It has very few tool buttons and icons to click on. There are pluses and minuses of this approach. The biggest plus is that you completely can control what's happening to your model. You can see easily the sequence of steps that you created just by looking to the commands that you issue, because they're all recorded. And you can actually copy them and create a data file and rerun. So in this way, somewhat similar. Well, I actually haven't worked with MATLAB in a while, but I believe it's somewhat similar to MATLAB approach. So some other software I know have a lot of icons to create model, to run the model, and they showed like the progress bar of how you start, let's say, the geometry, and then you add more and more data and parameters, and then you end up at the result. But what if you need to change something in the model? What if you want to run some sensitivity analysis? That means you have to go back and you have to know at what point you stop. It may become a bit hard when you work with very complex models. It's just much easier to look at the data file that describes what you did. The commands, all the commands are relatively intuitive. And you can put a lot of description and commands at each step. Like, for example, here I create my geometry. Here I assign boundary conditions. Here I assign material properties. And you can issue them in different order before you solve the model. Like, you don't need to follow this same pattern. You can really like do whatever is convenient. And then at the end, just solve the model. And then let's say you got the solution, you want to modify something. You can either go back and change your data file and rerun, or you can continue from the previous solved state, change something and run it again and solve it again. So it's very natural when you work with a data file, and you will see it's kind of very natural approach just to follow these typical steps and get your results. Plus, it's very flexible. You can insert a lot of scripting inside. As you remember, we have our own scripting language, Fish, and we also have Python. So you can insert Python code or all Python function from inside. You can even create your own interface and your own plots using Python. The minus of this approach, it's a bit steeper learning curve. However, because things are not just very visual, you kind of need to know which command to issue. But there's plenty of documentation for the commands. There's inline help. You start typing something, press Control Spacebar, and you will see which options are available, which commands are available. So, as I said, you can start typing something here. For example, don't create quad, create a quadrilateral block, and then I can just let's go to model, and I see that with the one command I created my geometry essentially. So I'm going to talk separately about commands. Don't concentrate on what exactly I typed. I'm just trying to describe general interface and logic behind. So here we see our command or console. We have Python console. You can type a Python command here. And we have state record that records everything that has been done with the model. And you can copy these commands and directly create a data file out of them, and then just run this data file, or save on your disk and rerun it later. We are going through the change of user interface. It's been an ongoing effort, and we still continue going. When you update your software next time, you're going to see that this area changed slightly. We also have, let me actually start newer version of the software. You still don't have it. Here. So you see that this bottom part looks slightly different in the newer version. Basically, you can separate these tabs. For example, fish symbols. It's a thing that basically parameters that you create in your scripting language that you can track what value they have and how they change. So you can track them during your analysis. But basically, you can separate these things just to have, let's say, only useful thing on the right side and something else on the left side. So this is main working area. Let me go back to the version that you have. Main working area where you can basically show what you work with. For example, your model. You can open a data file. Let me see if I have something here. I already have something. So here's your data file. You just open it. Very simple model. Actually, you see it's creating a quad. And I just click on this button to run it. And it's completed. So basically, it just runs this data file, runs all these commands. The last command, essentially, we will talk about it separately, but it basically, this is the right way to type it. Oh, probably don't see it. I kind of feel that this projector doesn't show things well since the last time. So basically, this is the data file. We're going to talk about this separately, what it means. Currently, all those fish things, as I mentioned, they will be on the bottom, but right now they're on the right side. Let me see what I have with Python here. Oh, empty. I'm not going to concentrate on Python at all today. Derek will talk about it tomorrow. But obviously, you can run Python plots from here as well. FLAC2D is distributed with the latest version of Python. It's 3.5.10, and a lot of modules are included. But you can also bring in your modules if needed. Well, yeah, so this is main working area where you can edit your data files. You can view your model by, for example, clicking on this selector of what you want to show in your main working area. Right now, I have 2 data files loaded in the, technically it's empty project. It's not saved right now. I just loaded them, but obviously I would like to, if I work in real project, I would like to save it, be able to restore later. I can see this model. This is kind of quick view of what you created. But then you can also create new plots. Plots are typically for things that you want to see, like results or track histories, or what else can we show on plots? Again, geometries, deformations, vectors, and so on. So if I create a new plot, I type a name, let's say by default plot1, you can put any name. I can bring to the plot a huge variety of quantities. Let me first remove these lines, they're not necessary. And these quantities are shown here. So now you see I clicked on the right side. This is control panel, I believe it's called. Let me see. Call it contextual tools and help panel. So when I activate plots, when I'm in the plotting logic, it shows me plotting tools. And for plots, I can bring different varieties of plots. For example, I can plot my geometry by plotting zones. Then going a little bit back, what is zone in FLAC2D? Zone is essentially one element. Grid point in FLAC2D, it's like node of a mesh. Let me plot zone. I just want to show you something that makes sense, and then we will come back to the example. Let me plot vertical stress here. Actually, the stress is applied in diagonal direction here. That's why it looks like that. So that's a typical thing that you can plot. For example, YY stress here. Obviously, you can plot a lot of different other quantities, and this is all selectable on the right side. Note that when I switch from a plot to a data file, this panel changes. It goes from like plotting tools to data tools, or called fish parameters. If I open another type of container or object, for example, a geometry builder, there will be different tools here to build geometry, for example. And there are some more tools here. For example, these are the tools to work with data file. If I go back to plot, these are some tools to work with the plot. If I go to model pane, which kind of just a view of the geometry that I built, there are some tools to modify this geometry and, let's say, assign material properties, so things like that. One thing I wanted to mention, if you work on high-resolution monitors, there is a way how to fix scaling problems for typically it's 2K and 4K monitors. And this is really Windows problems. It's not ours, but we have to deal with them. So if you let me actually see if it works for me. Maybe I already changed it. Let's see. If I fix that problem, everything's gonna look fine. Yeah, I already fixed it. But if you start your FLAC2D and all the fonts look bad and things kind of misaligned, does anybody have this problem? Oh, okay, that's great. So just to show you, so for you to know, if you ever start our software, let's say on some high resolution monitor, and it looks kind of strange, you can go to where your software is installed. So for me, by default, it's program files, ITASCA software. And then you should need to go to this exe64. Is it visible for you? There, can you see from the back? And then you need to right click on executable, which is FLAC2D GUI. Go to properties and compatibility and change high DPI settings. And then there is a tab override or checkbox override high DPI scaling behavior and select system here. So that's a typical way how to trick Windows or make Windows to scale programs properly for all ways or all different types of resolution on your monitor. You shouldn't have any problems if you work on monitors under 2K resolution. But when you go higher up, quite often you start having problems with different types of software. So let me start once more FLAC2D so you see how it looks when we start it.